Hey everybody, Tim here, Gray Man POTA, amateur radio call sign November Whiskey 9 Foxtrot. Well, I tell you what, I probably should stop surfing Etsy. Once again, I found myself buying something that I did not know I needed until I needed. So I purchased an ICOM IC2730A mobile radio for doing amateur radio satellites. Damn you, Rob. So I was putting my pack together, and what I found was that kind of the more modern options for power, and actually this is the cable that came with the 2730, and it's got 15 amp fuses in here. And this is a mess. Not to say that it's a bad cable, it's just there's a lot of cable here, and I'm dealing with a restricted chest rig. Think of something the size of a set of binoculars, right? So, and I didn't want to put this big bundle of wires in here. Now the Molex connector for the radio is pretty much standard. I think Yaesu, ICOM, they all use these kind of things. But then we've got these barrel fuses. The only other option is a situation like this where we've got fuses, and these are the large automotive type fuses. This is a 30 amp fuse, and actually I took this off my IC7300 that I keep in the truck with me to do POTA activations. But what I wanted to do is find something a little smaller, something that was a little bit more manageable, that could fit in the bag and not cause me issues. And sure enough, I get onto Etsy and I stumble across this thing, and I tell you what, I bought not only one but two of them. And the reason for that is because, well, they're compact. And what we've got is the small fuse block kit from Hand Things there on Etsy. Now this comes in a couple different forms. You can purchase the entire kit prepackaged together with a case, and you can put any style of the mini fuse in there that you would like, up to 30 amps. So it is rated up to 30 amps, which means you should be able to power a standard 100 watt radio with this without any problems. Very nice design. It's got power poles on it, and you do have, once again, a couple different options. You can buy, like I did, just buy the kit individually. We're actually going to build this together here real quick because it's not that hard. You can buy it with the case on it as all one unit. If you didn't want to have to do any of the soldering, it does come pre-assembled like this. Or the other option is, in my case, I bought the kit and I took my 3D printer and I printed a couple of cases. They're fairly easy to print. There's nothing hard, and I will put links to not only the individual cases but to this on Ham Things Etsy site. So the other option I have seen is instead of using one of the cases is to actually put shrink wrap around it. So, and there's some examples of that on the Etsy page. So here's what you get in the bag. Actually a QR code for the directions. You get two pre-assembled power pole connectors, and you get 4 of these tabs that you'll use to mount the fuse to the circuit board, and you get the circuit board itself. So nice thing about this, you can, I guess, technically do it either way, either side. Both sides have pads on it that you can solder on, and as long as you put all the components on the same side, you won't have any issues. I'm going to go ahead and use this orientation so we see the numbers here, but essentially all you have to do is just stick the Anderson power poles, the pre-assembled Anderson power poles, into the board. Make sure they're well seated. Flip it over, and let's solder this thing. Because this is a lot of surface area to heat up, we're going to wait just a minute before we start adding solder. But you'll see that once it's warmed up, you'll start to see solder flow. So now that we have the Anderson power pole soldered on, I took a couple of the 2 amp fuses that were in a bulk package of fuses that I purchased, and put links to that down below too. These are 2 amp fuses, which I doubt I'll use, but once again, as I mentioned earlier, this fuse block will support all the way up to 30 amp fuses, which is nice because in the case of the mobile radio, I'm only looking at 15 amps tops. But if I wanted to use this with my 100 watt radio, I could do that too also. Now that we have the tabs on the fuses, use those as a guide. Put these in, we just need to slide them in the holes, and I'm going to make sure that they are all facing the same direction. And that they are flush to the board. And I'm going to flip it over. And we'll just go through and solder those on real quick. So just like the Anderson power poles, you've got a lot of metal that you're got to warm up. So it'll take just a second to get it on there. Need to make sure you get your tip touching both the leg there of the and the pad. Once you've got all that together, you can either put it in shrink wrap and shrink it down, and then you can replace your fuses. I don't know if I would use those fuses. There's been a fair amount of heat on them. I mean, I'm definitely using them for this and this sacrificial thing, but you can put a little heat glue in there if you wanted to. Board slides right in. And then the top goes on there. And then you can take a little super glue or whatever to secure the top. All right, so what we're going to do here real quick is just to test these things. So we've got 30 amp, put the source side on here. And we have got 13.17 volts. I'm also coming up on 3,000 subscribers, so I am going to have a giveaway here pretty soon. Now, I can't spill the beans on it, but what I will say is it is something that you will find in only the finest penal institutions in the United States of America. So with that being said, if you liked this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this content with your friends. And until we have an opportunity to meet again, I have a video right over here that I think you might be interested in.